The Go-Betweens were an Australian band formed in Brisbane in 1977. So they were co-founded by two guys called Robert Forster and Grant McClellan, both of whom were singer-songwriters and guitarists, and they effectively co-led the band through its history. And I feel like this is quite unusual. It's often you have one person who's the driving force in a band, much less common to have a partnership of two. The rest of the members of the band have been quite volatile over the years. So they existed until 1989, during which period they produced 6 albums. And then after a break, they reconvened into the year 2000, and they produced 3 more albums until Grant died in 2006.
Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Liberty Belle and the Black Diamond Express by the Go-Betweens. It was their fourth album and my first time listening to it. And I've seen various descriptions of this. Jangle pop, indie rock, those two maybe kind of work. It only really matters in terms of me trying to help you know what it's like without me spending 2 hours on description or playing clips from every track. And as you can tell, I'm tripping over my tongue today, so apologies for that. Indie pop might have to do here. So it's guitar-based, poppy, slightly rocky stuff, sometimes with a jangly electric guitar with a variety of speeds and textures, but a kind of unified sound to it. And that feels somehow slightly reverbed and somehow, now I've got an interesting thought here, somehow feels Australian to me. And I can't put my finger on what it is that makes it feel Australian to me. Maybe it's something I'm projecting onto it because I know they're an Australian band. Or maybe there is something here. And if you have any answers as to why you think I might think this sounds Australian, please answers on a postcard, or actually probably easier, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear any theories about that, especially if you can shed some light on my weird presentiment here. So apparently this is the Go-Betweens moving to use a more straightforward music than previously. And at times I would say maybe that succeeds. I'm not particularly strongly know their stuff. I've reviewed one of their other albums. And so at times I would say it's definitely straightforward, but at other times it does have things like odd time signatures and extra bars or extra half bars and stuff. So maybe they didn't quite manage to get rid of the complexity going on here. There's also quite a feature of instruments like accordion and violin and cello and things like that in it, which add a slightly, they don't give it a post-rock feel that some of those instruments might for some music. They give it a slightly folky feel, and they kind of give it this almost Dexys kind of element to it of bringing these instruments in. The singing's okay. It's fairly distinctive. It's a bit clipped at times. There's very tiny bits of awkwardness, so that's partly emphasised by. I use awkwardness in a way that I don't mean. I'm not trying to mean it derogatory. It's just as a description. Sometimes this is emphasised by having lines that are of different lengths and scansion, as if they're kind of to give the impression that it's more conversational than lyrics that have been put together as a poetic thing. And sometimes he's not perfectly hitting the notes either. The songs are about painting pictures of scenarios, I would say. Romantic ambiguity is potentially a thing here. Life and love, and somewhat ambiguous in the way that it's presenting the ideas, I think. I'm being vague. Partly that's because what I've picked up from them, I think, is quite vague here. Overall, this is one of those albums that I'm kind of, it's okay. I wouldn't buy it. I don't object to it, but I don't think I'd seek it out again. And I had another one of these recently, a few days ago. Usually this means high sixes. Oh, will you look at that? We've got 6.9. And actually, would you also look at the fact that I reviewed one of their albums before, and that also got 6.8. So I think they're being consistent, in my opinion, or maybe my opinion is being consistent of them. So that's what I think. Not damning, but not praising particularly, really, I think. But I'd love to know what you think, especially if you think there are qualities in here that I've missed, and this is a great album. Please let me know in as much length or brevity as you like what you think is good about this album by leaving me a comment. But that's it for me for now.
A widow's life's no life at all. Looks like it goes